I'm a backup supporter here.
Sure.
All right, everybody, welcome to this meeting of the Fayette County Commission, and this is not a regular session. This is an evidentiary hearing in the matter of the election contest in the Fayette County Republican Executive Committee male plateau seat. Three individuals were affected by the outcome of that race: Robert Love, Austin Haynes, and Willie Vest. I want to note appearances here. We have all of the affected parties present and two have counsel. We have Brandon Gray for Mr. Vest, and we have Wes Tony for Mr. Haynes. Commissioner Brenneman is not sitting in on this because he is Mr. Haynes' stepfather, so he has a conflict. I want to note that while I did used to serve on the Fayette County Republican Executive Committee, my term ended at the end of June of this year. Okay. This is a formal court hearing. We are recording it. All of our commission meetings are recorded and posted on YouTube. This one will be as well. We also have a recording from the Sheriff's Department as a backup. And we will not be taking minutes due to the nature of this proceeding. I want only one person to speak at a time, either at the microphone here. If it's counsel, or witnesses will sit beside me because we have a speaker up here and that'll make sure we capture the audio. Okay. This is not like a typical county commission meeting where you are going to be able to shout out from the audience or anything else. So I ask that you not do that. And if you have cell phones, please turn them on silent. We'll allow the parties to present their allegations. And we're going to evidence. We are going to ask the counsel and in your case, Dr. Love, that you yourself submit any written closing argument within 5 days. And I think our counsel told you, we'll relax the deadline for those of you in practice if you need to a couple more days, but let's not dally with it because, if anybody's going to appeal this, you need that time. Okay. We will issue an opinion within 10 days of receiving those closing arguments. And we are not going to have open arguments today. If you want a copy of the recording and can't get it off of YouTube, please reach out to the prosecuting attorney, Anthony Siliberti, and he will get a copy to you. Okay. All right. So who wants to go first?
Yes, it's ready.
All right, Mr. Gray.
Thank
you. I need it, even if I know your name. If you get up to speak for the record.
My name is Brandon Gray. I represent Mr. Vest in this matter. I guess at this time we would call Miss Holly.
Ms. Clerk Holly, would you sit here beside me? When you swear in. Once you get up here, we'll get you sworn in. Would you raise your right hand before you sit, please? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You. Thank you. Oh, listen, I hate that shit.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. State your name for the record, please.
My name is Michelle Holly.
All right, and how are you employed?
I am the Fayette County Clerk.
All right, is that an elected position or a hired position?
It is a elected position.
Okay. All right. So kind of, if you would tell me what it is you do specifically.
The county clerk's office in general is the record keeper for the county, and you're also the chief elections official for the county.
So obviously, you know why we're here, correct? What role did your office play in the election this year early?
We run all the elections. We do all the legwork for them.
All right, so can you kind of tell me what it is?
Preparing all the materials, preparing all the coworkers. We gather all the materials up at the end of the night and run the results.
Okay. You say the materials, I'm assuming you're referring to ballots. So
yeah, among other things, yes, ballots, poll books, all the things that they will need for the election on election day.
Alright. So when you gather up all the ballots, what do you do with them then? Or do you take them? What-
At the end of the night, the ballots are brought back in sealed containers. And they are stored in our secure storage facility until, and we keep them for 22 months.
Okay, so is that after they've been counted or is that prior to them being counted?
Was after they've been counted.
Okay. All right, so how do they get from the precinct, I guess, to the place where they're counted?
We have, that's part of the poll workers' jobs. There's two poll workers of opposite party, bring all that material back to us on election night.
Okay, so is any that stuff sealed or?
It is correct, yeah. It is sealed, at the end of the night, the workers seal it, they're given seals. We have a list of those seals. Those seals are checked when they come back. And they are, like you said, we do have people of opposite party that brought back with the material.
Was there any concern with any of the seals or anything on the ballots when they were returned to the county? So all that was.
No, it all seems pretty, yeah.
Okay, all right, so if you would please explain to me what the poll workers do. As far as the voter, they walk the voter up to the balloting box. What are they supposed to do?
So when you first go into the polling location, they check you, they would check you in and in the poll book, to verify your identity and to mark that you're voting. And then they would give you the poll slip and the ballot, the blank ballot to take to a machine. Poll worker should walk you to that machine, show you how to use it, that blank ballot in the machine. In the primary, there are options for which party ballot to choose. The poll workers are instructed to do that themselves for the person and allow the person their privacy to do their voting.
So why is there an option? Why do you choose the party? What's the deal with that?
So it's a mechanical software thing, right? So we have to when we're using paper poll books, the poll slip tells you which party the person's supposed to vote for the primary. Then they take that paper to one of the machines to choose the correct ballot style.
So you're saying a human chooses that?
Correct. Yes, when you're using paper poll books, yes.
And that's what was used in this election?
During election day, yes.
All right, so would you agree that there's a chance that there could be a mistake made punching? I guess
Yeah,
whatever.
anytime humans are involved, there can be a chance.
Okay, all right. All right, so obviously we had the election and we're here today over the Republican Executive Committee election, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so tell me, after you reviewed this, did you come up with any discrepancies? Was there any problems with the results?
So we found that there were more Republican ballots cast than there were registered Republicans that voted. As nearly as we can tell with the data that we have. I think it's pretty accurate, but I just make one. And so this year, because the Republican Party had closed their primary, those numbers should have matched. And they did not.
How much of a discrepancy was there?
In this particular race, there were 37 extra people who voted. They could have been Democrats or nonpartisan. We don't know that, but they were not read. There were 37 more registered, but there are 37 more ballots cast than are registered Republicans that voted in these precincts.
So overall, I think you said there was 37 votes in the male Republican Executive Committee race.
There were 37 people. Yes, so there would have been a total of 74 votes, because in that particular race, each person gets 2 votes.
Plus, okay. So
There should be a potential, I should say, because not everybody has to vote both, correct? I mean, some people don't do any, some people might do one, or some people might do both.
okay, so based on what you uncovered with the I guess irregularity in between the numbers, what did you then do?
I informed the commission at Canvas And the commission then informed the candidates that were involved.
All right, and how did they inform the candidates, you know?
They were sent a letter.
Did you get a copy of that letter as well?
I saw it, yes.
You saw it? So based on the fact that you say that there's 37 people voted, and they had the opportunity to vote twice, it's 74 votes. What is the margin of error here? What is the number between the lower two candidates?
The lower two were 8, that's as hard, 28. Between the lower two.
So you're saying the difference between winning or tying?
Oh, sorry, so I guess 29 would be the win, 28 would be the top.
Okay, all right, so you would agree that 28 is within the margin of error of the votes that have been cast? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, potentially, yeah,
All right, well, I mean, what'd you say? We had 37,
right,
now we got
with,
28
mhm.
to win, I think.
Yeah.
I got the numbers mixed up in my head, but anyway, there's enough votes, if they were removed, that could alter the outcome of the election. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, it could, yes.
Okay. All right, and those 37 people that voted were not allowed to vote in this election, is that your position?
Only registered Republicans should have been voting in this particular race. From these numbers, it appears there were people who were not registered Republicans that voted.
Was there at least 37 people that were not registered Republicans that voted?
It appears to be.
Well, do you have any evidence that would dispute that statement, that there were 37 people that were not Republicans that voted in this particular election?
No, other than because of the way our voter rolls are dynamic, it's very difficult to capture snapshots in time of people. And so there is potential for someone to have moved out, to have voted and then moved out, and don't have that information captured, or something changed in their voter registration. Not a lot, I shouldn't, but I guess I don't want for us to get stuck absolute on that absolute number. There's potential for that number to shift ones or twos depending on people changing registrations and when the information is captured.
Well, would it be fair to say that based on your knowledge and experience in doing this job, that you don't believe it would move to where it would be within the margin of error, so to speak?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you that I think the question everybody in the room wants to answer.
Mhm.
Why can't we just go in and remove the ballots from the people that voted that weren't supposed to and count them? Why can't we do that? Why do we gotta do this?
Because I have absolutely no way of finding those particular ballots. Our state constitution requires you or gives you the right to a secret ballot. So the Secretary of State's office and therefore county clerk's offices have put into place a lot of stringent protocols to make sure. I have no way of knowing once your ballot goes into that machine, I have no way of knowing which ballot is yours. And I don't want to know, because then that potential, then there's that potential then for that to get out when you didn't want it to. So once that ballot stub comes off that ballot and it goes into the DS-200 into the tabulator, there's no way for me to know which ballot was yours.
So it's an impossibility. It cannot be done.
No.
Even though it seems like at first glance, that'd be the easiest way to do it, but it's
Yeah,
impossible.
there's no way. And the system is designed that way.
So let me ask you this. Based on the amount of registered Republicans, based on the votes that we received, obviously you got more votes than you had registered Republicans, right? Is it fair to say that there's really no way to determine the actual outcome of this election at this point?
No, there's not.
Okay, so. In your opinion, how do we fix this?
Well, luckily I don't get to have an opinion in this.
Okay,
That's for the commissioners to decide. I mean, either we will take the results as they stand, or we will have to maybe redo something, but that's not for me. That's for the evidence to lay out for them to decide.
so, but as far as you're concerned, the evidence that you have,
Mhm.
there's no way to ascertain who really won.
No, I mean, I think it could very well be that all 37 of those people didn't vote in that race, or they all voted and they all voted just for one person, or they all voted and they voted for two people, and it would make a big difference, or maybe it would make none at all, but I can't. With what we have, I cannot make that.
And ma'am, you did issue a statement, is that correct, after you discovered this?
We did.
Approach. The top part of that there, you could read that and just let me know if it accurately reflects what you stated.
Which part? The very
First,
first?
the top, yeah, I believe it's your communication to a news agency, I believe is what it is.
I think fairly accurate.
Can you read it out loud?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yes.
Around 90 independent or Democratic voters were able to cast ballots in the Fayette County Republican primary on May 12th. Fayette County Clerk Michelle Hawley said her office received a report from a precinct later in the day about a non-affiliated voter who was allowed to vote on the Republican primary. We got a report later in the day from a precinct, actually from a social media post, that someone who is not a Republican, she's a non-affiliated voter, was allowed to vote on the Republican primary.
And you agree that's your statements that I guess you released or had communicated?
Yes. Mhm.
And also, you had said that you had seen the letter that was sent to the candidates, is that correct?
Yes.
Let you look at this and see if that is the letter that you remember seeing.
Believe so.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So at this time, I would move to have her statement admitted into evidence that she read and agreed that that was her true statement that she had give. So I would ask that that be admitted, and I would also ask the county commission to take judicial notice of the letter dated May 18, 2026, in where the commission goes through and tallies the votes and establishes the difference in the voter counts. So I would ask that you guys take judicial notice of that letter.
I'm gonna move that we grant both.
Oh.
Any objections?
Are there any objections
No.
to those two things?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, admitted.
So, ma'am, is there anything else that I could possibly ask you here today? That, or that you think that might need clarified? That can kind of shed some light on this?
I don't think so. I don't know if there was anything else that.
All right, well. Let me ask you, and this is honestly coming from Alexis, because I don't know.
Mhm.
In the event that it's determined that there has to be another election, or we have to have an election in November. How can we square that, in your opinion, with what has happened in this election? How can we make sure that it's not going to happen in the next election?
Well, first and foremost, the commission has authorized, we're going to purchase electronic poll books, which will take some of that human factor out. They use, it's a tablet and a printer that will then print the correct ballot style on that blank ballot. That then goes into the express vote, and the express vote itself chooses the correct ballot. So it's more automated. There's less chance of that. And if I go up to that poll book and they sign me in a primary, the only parties that I am allowed to choose from are the ones that are available. So if I were to walk up there and say and ask for a Republican ballot, as I'm not a Republican, registered Republican, I could not be issued a Republican ballot. The computer system won't let it. Without doing a provisional, but that gets into some weeds and that's not really pertinent. I mean, it would take so many more steps for that to even be a possibility. So it doesn't let them do that. I know I've already had lots of conversations with my elections clerk about our training and about ramping up our training program, and because I will be honest, we thought we had done a good job, and clearly there were some holes in somewhere, or this wouldn't have happened. And so we're working on making changes in that to make sure that we get the right information to the poll workers.
And I understand that, but I think maybe one of the issues that need clarified is obviously prelim was a closed race for this position.
Right.
And when we go to the general, don't everybody get the vote? I mean, everybody gets to look. How are we going to separate? I mean, I think what you're really saying is we're going to have one election that has two different styles, I guess, for lack of a better term. We're going to have part of it that everybody gets to vote on. And then we're going to have this one very limited race that's really subject to just a small part of Fayette County.
Right.
That has to be secure. You know what I mean? It has to be designated just for the Republicans. How are we going to do that?
I've had talks with our software, the people who do that software. It's called Election Software and Systems. They can do that, so we can make a ballot, and with the poll books especially, it'll be easy. So like when someone in one of these affected precincts who is a Republican goes to check in, then they would receive that ballot style that has this race on it. If someone is not in that particular subset, it would not be available to them. But we do have the technology capable.
Okay, so this process that you're talking about is smart enough, I guess, to determine you live in the right area, you don't. So the guy that's in or the voter that's in the right area gets the opportunity to vote in this election, if that's what happened. Whereas somebody over here, they won't even see it. It won't even show up.
Correct.
Okay. Do you believe this result that we have? Because like I said, obviously we have a fixed number of voters, and then we have a fixed number of votes that we know have. Would you agree that if it's not addressed, kind of affects the credibility of our elections?
I hate to object, I mean, I think that goes for a legal conclusion and it's set forward by the commission. I think that's beyond the scope. I mean, I know she's an expert, she testified to the election, but when it comes to that, I think that's a conclusion of law the commission's going to have to reach.
Do you have a response?
Well, I mean, I'm not really asking for a conclusion. I mean, she's a citizen. I think she could testify to that. I mean, I don't know how anybody can say that it's a fair election if we have a finite number of votes that we are expecting to get, and we get a larger number. I mean, I don't know how anybody could look at it on the face and think that it was fair. So I think as a citizen, she should be able to answer that. I know I have my personal feeling about it.
Well, I think we can allow it. I move that we that.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's also, it is not as, it is not to me as a clear cut as it might seem to face. It's not just a set number of people who voted extra and a set number, because we don't know how those people voted. None of those people could have voted in this race. But I do see the point that that arises the question. I just don't see it as clear cut, maybe.
Well, the question was, if it's not addressed, do you agree
Yeah.
that would be a public perception problem?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't have that much time.
All right. Now, Clerk Carl, this is where I joke and say that I went to law school to avoid math, okay? But I wanna make sure, I wanna get some math in. So I think the complaint alleged that 38 extra people voted, but I think you testified that it's 37.
I've run the number several times. I was doing that math by hand at Canvas that day.
And let me go there because I wanna make sure I understand. So are you able to calculate 37 extra people based on the votes that was cast in that election, or the number of ballots cast in that election?
It's the number of ballots cast.
Okay, so your technology allows you to identify the number of ballots cast.
Correct.
But you're saying that the technology does not allow us to have any more information regarding those ballots?
I mean, we get votes cast off this ballot. We can't get any information about the person who cast them.
Okay, then how are you able to say that there's 37 extra people? Because you can't go by votes, because as you said,
Mhm.
you can vote for 0, you can vote for 1, you can vote for 2. You agree?
Correct.
Okay, so how are you able to compare the ballots and find that amount, that number?
Gotcha. So I have two different reports, right? So I have the what's called the ENR, which is the election night reporting report, and that is strictly which ballots went into the machine and were tabulated. I also have our voter history report, which is a snapshot of the voter registration when I ran it, which in this case was the following the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday after campus. That's when I started running these. That gives me the number of, so once I input that information, it gives me the number of voters who voted. Not necessarily what ballot they voted, but it shows me that these 200 people voted in this precinct. And that they are right now at this time registered Republican, registered Libertarian, and registered Democrat. And so I took those two reports and compared them. And that is where we got those numbers.
So those reports will tell you who voted?
They will tell me who voted, yes.
Okay, so you could be able to pick out the people who voted by looking at the ballots, right?
No, because I can
You would
see.
be there.
Yeah. So, all right, so we had, that's total that up anywhere. Okay, so let's say precinct 11. I have a sheet here with the stats I have on it here. Precinct 11 had 208 Republican ballots cast overall, over early voting, absentee, and election day. When I do those voter history reports, I had 185 people who lived in precinct 11 at the time that in that report, which would have matched people to we hadn't changed anybody, so it should match to the people that were in the poll book. But 185 Republicans cast ballots. So there's a discrepancy there of 23.
Right.
The biggest one. Like I said, I can tell you who voted and what their registered party affiliation is. I can tell you the ballots cast and which party ballots were cast, but there's no way to.
Wait a second, let me unpack that.
Mhm.
So you're saying that you can run the registration and identify that there was only 185 Republicans who voted,
Right.
and identify those voters, correct? Why can you not run the remaining in District 11, 22 people or 23 people, and figure out who they are? Because you're relying on that information, because part of this is reliability, right? I mean, you're testifying reliability.
Yeah.
So if it's reliable enough to say that only 185 Republicans voted, and there's a 208 ballots cast, why can you not look at the extra people who the X 23 identifies?
Well, because there's more than 23 more people. There were a total of 491 ballots cast in the precinct. So the difference of whatever that is, 200 and some, 240 voted a Democratic ballot, and then 43 voted a nonpartisan ballot. But I have no way of knowing of that 200 and some, did they pick it? Did they get a Democrat ballot? Did they get a nonpartisan ballot, or were they one of the 23 people that took the Republican ballot that weren't supposed to? I have no way of knowing.
So what you're saying is that you can identify the number and the people who voted in the Democratic primary.
Mhm.
That's registered Democrat.
Yes,
Correct.
should be able to, yeah.
Can you identify the independents who voted a Democrat ballot as they were permitted to? And if not, why?
It's hard to match sometimes. And I have not tried to do any of that math. I mean, there might be some forensic math that could be done, but
But you're doing it for the Republicans.
the Republicans were easy because the Republicans should have been a 1-to-1 match.
But you would admit that you haven't tried it.
Correct. And even if I did, I still couldn't. I might be able to find, well, it was 4 Democrats that took Republican ballots and another 15 that took, were nonpartisans that took a Republican ballot, but I still couldn't find the individuals. I still couldn't find that it was, Dave Cook that did it or whoever. I'm just picking on David. I can't find the individual person. Like I might be able to get you those more numbers and say that of those 23 people, it seems to be 7 Democrats and 16 nonpartisans, but I would not be able to give you individuals.
And why is that?
Again, because of ballot secrecy, I don't want to know really how you vote.
I got you. And there's a difference between you don't want to know and if you're capable. Are you capable?
No, that's why I'm not capable, is because we don't want to.
Okay, and can you explain that? What capabilities prevent you from identifying these persons?
Because there is nothing that ties an individual ballot to an individual person. So, when you go in to vote, and you're given it's technically card stock at that point before we put anything on it. There's a stub at the bottom that has a number on it, and that number is written on the full slip to ensure that you don't try to switcheroo ballots or try to put in 2 ballots, or, I mean, this was way more prevalent before we had machines, but that's what we do it for. So then when you go to the machine, to the DS200, which is where your vote is tabulated, that's ballot stub comes off that ballot. Once it comes off, there's no way to match that ballot to who voted it.
So that stub does not match anything on the actual ballot?
No.
Then how are you able to confirm that there wasn't 2 ballots cast or?
Because we keep, sorry, I should have brought my water up. So we keep tallying that. So and ballots are numbered. So at the end of the night, what happened, the poll workers, among other things, count how many ballot stubs and poll slips they have. Those 2 numbers have to match. That number has to match what went into the tabulator, which shows so those numbers all match. And they can see from the number of unused ballots. Well, we had 50 people vote today. I was given 200 ballots at the beginning of the day. I still have 150 left. So there are 50 ballots in that machine.
And how is that data collated? Does it divide between Democrat, Republican, or how is that matched?
We do not delineate by that anymore because we don't have anything to compare the number to. So we used to, when there were stacks of Democrat, Republican, nonpartisan ballots at each precinct. Now that everyone gets the same blank cardstock until the ballot is voted, there's no real reason for us to separate out by party at the end.
Let me ask you, what happens to the ballots after they're put in the machine?
So they are blocked in the bottom of the machine until the end of the night. At the end of the night, after 7:30, after the polls close, the poll workers take that box out they seal it, they shut it, lock it and seal it
Let me stop. That wasn't an awful question.
Yeah.
I'll withdraw it. Where are the ballots at right now?
right now. They are in the basement of the memorial building in our securely locked election room.
Okay. So you agree that we have a voter registration that identifies people's voter registration, Democrat, Independent, Republican,
Mhm.
correct? And we have the ballots downstairs, and then we have the specific people who voted
Mhm.
in each of the districts, correct? Each of the precincts?
Yeah, yes.
I mean, going to.
Go back, sorry, just that.
Yeah, no, I got you. So going back to precinct 11,
Mhm.
you said that there were 185 voters
Right,
who Republican voters who registered to vote,
Mhm.
but you got 208 ballots.
correct,
We have the ballots downstairs.
correct.
What is preventing us from identifying with the voter registration, the people who voted,
Mhm.
the excess 23 people in the ballots down there?
Because again, those ballots have no way to identify which of the 491 that are in that box are the 23 you want to take out.
Let me ask you, would it provide information about who voted, how they voted?
No, they don't. They have no information on them that show you that.
So they're not divided. We don't know in the ballots downstairs,
Mhm.
the 208 people who voted in precinct 11 for Republican. We don't have that information.
No,
Why?
because you are guaranteed a constitutional right to have a secret ballot. So if there is so we are not capable. We've made the system so we are incapable of finding that information out. Because it would violate your constitutional rights if I had a way to find out how West Tony voted without his consent.
But in these situations, we can't pinpoint a ballot in order to make sure that the ballots in the elections was done securely.
Not, like I said, that is how the system was designed.
Is that a decision by the commission or by Secretary of State, or who makes that decision?
Your state legislature,
State legislature has defined this process.
yes,
Do all counties run it the same?
should be.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
Okay, so so you're able to extrapolate that 37 extra people voted, comparing the voter registration of the identified registered Republicans versus the ballots. Well, see, strike that. This is what I don't get.
right.
If you know how many ballots voted,
Mhm.
right? Because you say you have to.
Well, yeah, and I know how many ballots were cast. Yes,
Okay, so in precinct 11, we can have those 208 ballots downstairs.
correct.
Okay. But you just say that there is no way to cross-identify and link those 208 up to anybody.
Correct. There,
Not even the primary voters who actually voted.
like I said, I know who voted, and I know that there were ballots cast, but I cannot match them one for one.
Now, and I think this is important, so I want to make sure this is
Yeah.
hopefully the last math I do. So 37 extra people voted, but you agree that those people could have voted for 0, 1, or 2 people, correct?
Mhm.
And let me ask you this, different, just because a voter voted in one election that was on the ticket does not mean that he's going to vote for another election, correct?
Correct.
And that showed up in the elections overall. Would you
Right.
agree?
Mhm.
Okay. So of the 37, let me ask you, and I want to make sure because you cannot vote for the same candidate twice, correct?
Correct.
In this election primary for the Republican Executive Committee for the Plateau District,
Mhm.
there were 3 choices. Mr. Love, Mr. Haynes, and Mr. Best, correct?
Correct.
And you could vote for 2 of them.
Correct.
So you could vote 0, 1, or 2.
Mhm.
So, and I'm getting these numbers from the Secretary of State, but Mr. Love received 400 votes, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Haynes received 377 votes, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Best received 349 votes, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So assuming that all 37 people voted,
Yes.
they could have
at maximum voted for one candidate 37 times and possibly a second candidate 37 times, correct?
Yes.
So as it relates to the numbers, Mr. Love is outside of the margin of the issues, correct? And if not, please explain.
Hmm. That is hard math.
Well, wait. You're scaring me now.
Well,
I was hard math when I did it.
Yeah,
You agree that
right.
37 people, you have 37 extra ballots that you can't account for with the Republicans registered, correct?
Correct.
And so you agree that you cannot vote for the same candidate twice, correct?
Correct.
All right. And so you can vote 0, 1, or for two candidates,
Right.
but not the same candidate twice.
Right.
So the
So-
maximum would be 37 for one candidate and 37 in another, if all of them voted for two candidates, correct?
Yes. Okay. I see what you're saying. So the most that could come removed from the highest vote getter would make him second.
And I'm sorry, it's a good point. The top two get the seat, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so regardless of the vote, Mr. Love, based on these tallies, would end as either first or second, and would be an elected position, correct?
If all 37 of those people voted for him.
Oh, no. Let's say that all 37 of those people voted for Mr. Haynes and Mr. Vest.
He would still be up. Yeah, I can see, I just had not ever done that math before, to sit down and look at it.
Or am I wrong? Like I said, I hate math.
Yeah. And I think I can see your point. I'm trying to figure out how to make that jive. So we take. But yeah, if we removed 37 from Dr. Love, that would be 363. And then. Yeah, I think you're, I'm not gonna,
I'll
I
take
guess I
it.
am swearing to it, so maybe I shouldn't.
I'll take it as a math. Let me get to the next question. Because you're the election officer in charge of running the elections of the county, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to say that the general election is far different from the primary election? Not to be
In many,
specific.
right, yeah, fairly so, yes. I mean, there are different races and different protocols, yeah.
Let me ask you, does one race have a predominantly higher vote count than the other?
In a general sense, like you mean as each election, you mean?
Yeah, just an overall.
Yeah, general normally brings out more people than a primary.
Correct. And the general's open, heck, except for maybe this race, it's
Right.
open,
Everybody gets the same ballot, except maybe, yeah.
and people can vote for whoever's on the ballot, correct? Okay, so the general has a history of bringing out more voters.
Mhm.
Let me ask you, you talked about voter history, and you're the county election officer. Are there some people that may vote in the general but won't vote in the primary, or vice versa?
Object speculation.
He's asked election questions. He asked her expert questions. She's a state, she's a county thing. She either knows, she doesn't. He didn't get to have it both ways.
I don't think that's really the question he's asking. I think what he's really asking her at heart is if she believes the people that voted in the primary is going to show up and vote again in the general.
Oh,
And she has no way to know that.
I'm not.
If they will or they won't.
I'm asking, he's asked in his complaint the relief that it put on the general election. There should be we're asking about not just whether this is an issue, but what's the remedy? And it's an appropriate question to ask, well, what's the difference? If we're going to put this on the general and we're going to subject all these people to another general race, what is the difference? Because there may be differences that are important. She's the county elections officer. I mean, he was asking her more speculative questions than I am because she said that she keeps track of voting history and she even goes to it to reference it to identify these issues. I mean,
I think we should allow it. I mean, we allow it.
So said,
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
In a general sense, yes, there are typically more people that vote in a general than vote.
okay. And you may or may not know, but are there some people that will vote both and some people that will historically vote just in general?
Yes, and then even more so between, this is a midterm election and there'll be more people that vote in the presidential. It's just, I mean, that's just pretty basic. I mean, the general thing we pretty play on.
I think I've gone to you for that advice before.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, when you said, and I think in response to Mr. Gray's question, that you believe you have the technology to, notwithstanding the fact that it's going to be a general election, it's going to be different, but account for the nuances of this particularized race in the general election, correct?
Correct.
All right. Let me ask you, can you prevent only, can you limit the voters in that general election to only the voters who voted in the primary? Do you have that capability?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that'd be possible.
So this could potentially be an entirely different pool of voters that are voting for this.
No, oh, it will be. I mean, I registered 2 Republicans in one of these precincts yesterday. So, I mean, there's been people that moved in the county, moved out of the county, people that changed their voter registrations. It'll be a different pool of people in the vote in the general when we do it.
Let me ask back up and make a general question. I think we're all in agreement, but I want to make sure. Is there any allegation that you are aware of that any of these individuals, any of the candidates did anything that resulted in this situation? Okay. And I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but this was the first primary that we were operating in a closed primary on behalf of the Republican Party, correct?
Since the 90s, 80s, about 40 years. Yeah.
All right. And so if we had to kind of attribute the hiccups, it's not anything that these candidates did, but it's just the system and trying to comply with the Republican Party's election and elective of the closed primary in the law, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because it goes to Mr. Gray's question, and now that he asked at the beginning, I want to ask the corollary. You recall Mr. Gray asking you whether not knowing and being able to identify with certainty that the proper people that should have voted, did vote, went to the integrity of the election. You remember that question?
I do.
And you responded, yes, correct?
Yes, sir.
I know you had some nuance.
Yeah, she said it should be addressed.
Okay, yeah. Let me ask you, we have talked about weighing secrecy of ballot versus security of the election. Would it not, we're asking about what we do in the future and how we secure this, but do you not think that there's a benefit to having a mechanism to identify voters and ballots to prevent this situation as opposed to running another election?
Stand by. Mr. Tony, I think that's beyond her scope. I mean, that's a legislative issue and not one that's policy formed by the county clerk.
All right, it's a corollary to his. It's the next follow-up. So, he's asking, should we have another contest because we couldn't secure it? And I'm asking, well, why shouldn't we be able to identify the ballots? So if his question is fair, I'm just asking.
He asked if an impropriety like this should be addressed. That's what he asked.
Okay. Okay, so you don't take any position on whether there should be, on how we address this as the county elections officer.
I will do what the state legislature tells me to do.
Okay.
In the courts.
Um, I believe you said you serve in an elected office, correct?
I do.
And so you've had to run for office.
I have.
Um, and you know, the last thing I'm just gonna ask you, that comes with time and cost and expense, correct?
It does.
All right. And so, you know, based on your experience as an office holder, you understand that forcing these candidates to run another election means that they incur additional time, expense, and everything that comes with an election.
I would say so. It does.
She needs to speak up. She needs to speak up.
Can you speak up? Sure. Okay, here on next to me.
Give me 1 second. I appreciate your calling. I have no problem. Yes.
Hey, Dr. Love, do you have any questions?
That's okay.
Okay, of course it's okay. Step on down.
Robert Love, you can solid. So I've run the math several times to the best of my mathing ability, which I'm not a professor of math, but as far as I can tell, any scenario, no matter how you divide it out, I would land in one of the top 2 spots. Would you agree?
It appears so. I will admit, that's not one of the scenarios I had run. But as Mr. Cheney said, the most votes we could take from you would be 37. And then and if it was only you, that would still land you in between Austin and Mr. Best.
Right, that's the way I kind of did it too. So, you know, I still take election integrity very seriously. I think it's a very serious matter. And we need to go all the way through it.
Just questions,
But
please.
in that instance, I don't know how else to ask it. Would it not be appropriate to certify my standing, or is that impossible given the circumstances?
I do not believe so. I think it's I think it'd be an all or nothing, is my understanding of how that is, but that again would be a decision of the commission, that's not a decision I make.
Got it. Okay. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a couple of follow-up questions for you. Would a recount have sorted out this race?
No, because we would have counted the exact same ballots.
And can you go through the actions taken? The commission sent a letter, you issued a press release, those have been established.
Yeah.
What happened after that?
So Mr. Vest asked for a recount. Then there was a hearing involving that, at which time the commission said because of the nature of the allegations that they did not feel that a recount was necessary. So therefore, we moved on to this stage.
So did we schedule a recount to start?
We did. And it was properly noticed, and then we chose not to have it, so then the rescinding of that was properly noticed.
Who chose not to have it? Based on what?
Originally, Mr. Best decided not to do it, and then he wanted to do it. And then you guys had a commission meeting hearing about it that determined that it was not necessary.
At which
Mr. Best said he didn't feel it was necessary.
and then what happened after that?
Then he properly filed for this contest.
Did the commission, did the board of canvassers certify the election?
They did as they are, yes.
That's all my questions. All right, let me step down.
Can I ask a redirect?
Sure,
I agree.
sure. Mr. Gray first.
I'll forward. And I guess my first one will just kind of piggyback on what Ms. Taylor was asking you. Mr. Vest, he withdrew his request for a recount, correct?
Correct.
All right, and would it be fair to say that he did so because of the information he was provided due to the impossibility of being able to determine who voted and what vote it was, correct?
Correct.
It wasn't because he didn't want to pursue this, it was because he was informed of what you've testified to here today, that it's an impossibility. We can't get anywhere with a recount. Is that fair to say?
I think so, yes.
Okay, all right. The other thing I wanted to ask you, this particular seat, it was for two people, right? Two elected positions.
Correct.
All right, so one being absolutely declared the winner is not really what we were trying to do. Would that be fair to say? There had to be two.
We were trying for the top two.
Yeah, okay, so that we have not been able to ascertain.
Correct.
Okay, so, and what I wanted to ask you, based on everybody's questions, my own, Mr. Tony's, Mr. Love's, and Ms. Taylor's, is there anything that anybody asked you as far as a question that may now lead you to believe that the election results for this particular race is ascertainable, meaning we can figure out, based on your own questions you've been asked, that yes, we have enough information to determine this election, or is it still impossible to ascertain?
I still think we have all the same facts we had at the beginning of it, so I guess no.
No,
It's not possible to, it's not possible to.
Ascertain the winner. Okay, no other questions. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Tony.
So I had a follow up, Mr. Love. Let me start with a follow up to that. Regarding the ascertainable result, though, that's a caveat that you agree that Mr. Love finishes in the top two regardless. You still hold that belief?
I do.
Okay. So the ascertainable is just who finishes second and where the numbers finally finish up, correct?
I think yes. I think there are different. I think those are two different questions. I think, or is there 100% ascertainable certainty, and does that mean? What does that then? What does that mean? I think there's a separate part to that.
Right, and I agree. So, and let me unpack it. So, the top two voters get the seat out of the three, correct?
Correct.
And so you would agree with me that Mr. Love, it's ascertainable that Mr. Love would finish either first or second and therefore get a seat, correct?
I mean, yes, based on these numbers. Yes.
Right. But you do, in responding to Mr. Gray, you do agree that it's not ascertainable as to the final numbers, and depending on the circumstances, it could have impacted who came in second, correct?
Yes.
All right, that's fair. The other question that I had, just a follow up, is this was not the only election where we cannot state for certain that we understand we have ascertainable results. Would you agree?
What do you mean?
Wasn't there an election on the Republican Executive Committee regarding the women's, I want to say, New Haven district?
There was another, yes, there was another one that could have been between the by the margin of error, yes.
Okay.
Okay, well, what's the relevancy?
So the question I'm going to have, and this came up in the ascertainable, is like, are we concerned about the actual numbers or certifying, being able to ascertain who won and the rest of it? Because the question here regarding Mr. Love, and so I wanted a question of just if we're seeking 100% accuracy and ascertainability, then we have other issues, and it expands that. Or if we're just worried about the ascertainability about who won, because they're different. Miss Hawley and I just went through the difference with them, and I think that's an important consideration from the commission acting as a court as to what are we trying to do, and what is the limitation, what is the assessment. And I'll play this out.
if we're concerned about 100% ascertainability that we know what every vote went for and the rest of it, then we're not concerned about who won, right? We're not concerned about whether Mr. Love won or not. But if that's where we are, there are other elections that also fit that ascertainability. So I'm asking the elections officer what she believes we should be focusing on.
I would object simply because those are the races, and I understand what Mr. Tuck is saying, clearly, I know what he's talking about. But the correct procedure is just to file a plea and come to court and discuss it. We don't have anybody in those races. I think it's unfortunate that they didn't file, but they didn't file. I don't think it's proper for us to take it up. So on that basis, I would object, but I understand what Mr. Tony's saying in theory. I don't necessarily disagree with him in theory, but legally, I don't think it's proper to take it up. They're not here.
And I'm not asking to take it up. I'm asking for it to be considered and what her consideration is. Mr. Gray has alluded to the fact that elections should be fair. We should know, we should have the result. And I don't disagree with him. I understand the point of view. But depending on the commission's, what they consider, what they view as dispositive, what their ruling is, it will inevitably choose one or the other. And so that's my point of asking. It's already been brought up. And what is her view on that? Because I'm trying to understand ascertainability, because that's what's been referenced a couple of times. But I've made my point. I'll withdraw it. Got a partial closure in there. So okay, I don't think I have any further questions. Thank you. Sorry, Mike.
Yes, thank you for that.
Okay, and I just wanted to clarify now, with all this ascertainability, we're talking about whether the numbers match up versus whether the race is a separate matter.
Okay,
So in your view, even if Dr. Love might have been in seat 1 or 2,
mhm.
if this court were to order a new election, would his name be stricken from that race? Is it about the race or is it about the results?
Too. I don't
It's okay,
know.
you don't.
Don't know. We don't, if there were to be another race, we don't know how people are gonna vote. So they could come in with, I mean, it could be totally different. But I don't know if that,
My question is, would all 3 names go on the ballot? Or would only the 2?
only the bottom 2. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if there's ever anything that tells us what to do with that. I don't know if that's something that is laid out anywhere in law, or if that's something you all would need to decide as a commission when you make your decision on this.
Any further questions? Anybody? What can be discussed? Do we have any other witnesses?
Yes, I'll
I just want to remind you that he should not testify to hearsay or anything like that. Come on up, Mr. Best. Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please have a seat. State the name for the record, please.
William Jennings Best.
Thank you, sir. All right, so obviously you know why we're here, right? Were you a candidate in the race for the Republican Executive Committee?
I was.
All right. And after the election, I believe it's fair to say that based on the numbers we have now, you come in the 3rd spot. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, why are we here today? Why do you believe this is necessary?
Well, because if you don't have fair elections, you have nothing. I'm a veteran, and I served my country so that we will have fair elections. And that is what, if we lose this, we lose it all.
So would it be fair to say that you filed this contest simply because the number of votes received was higher than the votes that should have been cast? Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
All right, and you believe that that number is within the margin of error in your base?
Yes.
Okay. So has this cost you anything? Have you spent any money
Oh,
on
it's
this?
cost me dearly. I mean, initially you have to pay $300, which means that if I didn't have the $300 to put up, then there's the stopping point. Okay. And then after that, then you have attorney fees, which those are very expensive. So yes, it costs a lot to get to this point.
All right, well, but let me ask you, did you have to pay to run for this position? Is there like a filing fee to run?
$100.
Okay, but that was money that you paid, right?
Yes.
All right, and I'm assuming you did so with the understanding that only those who were registered to vote would get the vote in this type of election, this closed election. Is that fair to say?
Fair to say.
Okay. All right, did you campaign? Did you do anything like that?
I put out a few signs,
Okay.
but I mean, it wouldn't be costly, you know, in the future. No, I honestly don't think that anybody else put out any campaign signs, so it's not a matter of cost. If it would be in the general election in November, I mean, it cost me
Okay, other than, well, it costs you a filing fee.
filing fee, $10.
Okay, all right. All right, and obviously, since all this has happened, it's cost you money. You employed me, correct?
Correct,
All right. So that's an expense, right?
right,
That's a damage. You
yeah,
wouldn't have otherwise had to pay.
correct.
Is that fair to say? So what do you expect to receive from this proceeding? What do you really want?
It's really nothing against the other candidates. It's not the fact that I lost. It's a fact of whenever this was brought to light throughout, through the letter and documentation that was provided to me. And it shows that I could have been within reach to have won that second spot. Then it's like, why don't you just do another election? I mean, you can say one person's on top, one's on bottom, but if you can pull those votes to be on top, you can pull them in November, you might get more.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So what are you asking for? What are you asking this court for?
I'd love to see it be placed on the general election.
Okay. All right, I don't have any other questions, so fine.
Serve too, Mr. Vespa. I know you know that. I appreciate it. I just have a couple quick questions. Now, in response to Mr. Gray's question, you ran for the Republican Executive Committee because you thought Republicans would be voting the primary. Is that what Mr. Gray asked you?
Well, and it was a closed primary,
Right.
so. Yeah, the Republicans, period.
Gotcha. Do you think you were harmed by allowing non-Republicans to vote in the primary?
Yes.
Why do you think so?
Well, I mean, it comes back to election integrity. Okay, if you don't have that, you don't have any. So how I was harmed was those votes, however they were cast. They could have been my vote. And 9 times out of 10, if a person goes in to vote and they really don't know the candidates, they'll just hit the top 2, while it's number 3 on that list.
That's the excuse I'm running with.
Might as well run with it.
Yes, sir.
Keep going with it.
Yes, sir. But you would agree that we have no way of ascertaining who those 37 people voted for, right?
No, and the thing about it is how I've worked the election, so I've worked the election the past 5 years. So I know exactly what's supposed to happen, and you gotta staff the polling place. I mean, if you have 4 people there and you don't have the 5th person there to take them up to pull up the ballot, then what's gonna occur is they're just gonna go pull up whatever they want.
Now, I wanna make sure I'm clear, because I believe you told Mr. Gray, you don't hold any ill will or anything against the other candidates, right? Is there anything that they have done or they didn't do that you think caused this?
No,
Okay, but you sued them, you named them in the complaint, right?
no, it's a procedure.
Okay, so it's just
It's
the,
just a procedure.
but you're not alleging that they did or didn't do some act.
No.
Okay, just want to make sure. All right, no further questions. Thank you, Mr. Best.
Anything else, Mr. Gray?
No.
Mr. Love? Hey, Mr. Best, you can step down. Good seeing you. Any more witnesses?
No other ways.
Mr. Love?
No.
Dr. Love, sorry. All right,
They're just quick.
all right, let's take a quick recess. We'll be back in 10 minutes. All right, we're back on the record from the recess, and the purpose of the recess was to get copies of the documentation the county clerk used for her testimony. Is there any objection from the parties to enter this documentation into evidence?
No, Judge.
Okay, and we're gonna do that, and we're gonna provide you all copies. All right, so at this time, I'm going to move that we recess this hearing until July 22nd at 11 a.m. At which time we will vote on our findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anything further?
I think that's it. Anybody else?
All right. Done.